Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. India has been reversed and the people's emotions are at red hot. The fact is that there have been a spate of rapes of young, innocent people, even rapes of the babes, and we have discussed it many times. But when you rape a girl and then burn her, that is adding insult to the injury, and naturally the conscience of the people is aroused. This is what happened in Unnao, where a lawmaker was involved in killing and later on, just day before, burning that girl. In Hyderabad, the same thing happened. Nevertheless, what really agitated the politicians and the so-called custodians of human rights and morality was that these four people were killed by police, as the police terms it, in an encounter. Nothing wrong with that in case it's an encounter. But the politicians need something to create a fuss. And they started terming it non-judicial killing. I was amazed and shocked that even the Chief Justice of India, perched on the lofty seat of the justice giving, thought it better to come and participate in the controversy, thereby abdicating his right to be the Chief Justice of India. I fully agree that wanton murder is bad. I fully appreciate that normally the police should not kill or indulge in so-called encounters. But why this sympathy for the rapist? That's what I have been able to understand. And given the judicial system that exists in India today, can you expect justice? Have the people who killed, raped and killed Nirbhaya about a few years back been punished as yet? They are still have a pay. I mean, they are still in the jail and they have not been executed. And how many cases go unreported? Let's not forget that the law may not have been followed here. I agree. But has the justice not been done? The killing of the four alleged rapists and murderers can definitely evoke delirious enthusiasm among sections of the people. And that enthusiasm shows that the people have lost faith in the normal judicial system. And who is responsible? It is the politicians and it's the judicial system who are at fault. At a human level, the reaction to this killing, extra-judicial as they call it, or retribution as I'll call it, is understandable. The horrible nature of the crime and the knowledge that the case would get dragged on years and years and years. Ultimately, they're getting a slap on the wrist. What happened in 2012 shows that the perpetrators do not suffer the way the victims have suffered. And yet, the custodians of the human rights side with the perpetrators of the crime. But then, is rape itself a murder of psyche and then the physical murder? Is the victim of these crimes not a human being? And the persons who have perpetrated a crime, are they really fit to be called human? The human rights activists, if they're really honest, should have spoken up when the crime was committed, the original crime, rather than showing their sympathy and clear inclination towards the wrongdoers. Do not forget that the desire for retribution is an undeniable human emotion. This is an impulse, and a swift and decisive kind of action would be the only thing that can justify any action. And this action, even if it's wrong legally, I don't know. There's been no judgment, there's been no criticism. It is just a criticism, an unsubstantiated one. They say, you say, I say. The police says that they snatched the arms of the police officers and they were shot. And then the others say, no, police has a habit of encounters. And I have lived in India, I know. And many times I would say the encounters are justified because otherwise they can become a cancer. I have myself seen, observed that many encounters are bad. They are in fact appearances of a mafia killing, police acting as agents of the moneyed people or of the politicians and killing people. That is bad. That should be, but that's not punished. Now let me tell you, in case the real extrajudicial killing is done by the police, the politicians will protect the police, the judges will keep their mouth shut, and the human rights activists will just turn a blind eye to it. Now let's see. Rape is a second stage. The first is the sexual harassment. And the sexual harassment that's happening in India and that happens practically all over is undeniably a trait which has to be curbed. Nobody has the right to harass anybody. And simply because the women are at the receiving end does not mean that they should be victimized. But is sexual harassment really punished? Why do not we curb the nip in the evil? The former Chief Justice of India was blamed for sexual harassment, and the complainant was not even allowed to question him. Simply because he was the Chief Judge. He should have immediately been asked to proceed on leave and should have been impeached. It never happened. How many leaders of society have been punished? No. The problem is that there's no guarantee that the perpetrators will be punished, and then there are two results. Either the people will start lynching these wrongdoers, or the police would be forced, some honest officers would be forced to indulge in that. I remember at the height of the dacoity problem, police had no option but to start killing. They would arrest, they'll shoot, because they knew that maintaining these criminals is fraught with danger. They would escape either by legal means or by illegal means. So what happens is that our system in India, as fails, because I'm talking of India today, is inept, inefficient, and corrupt. And it continues in perpetuity by providing occasional exceptional solution, which only serves to legitimize the sin, if not a crime. And then the system doesn't work. So in that case, extrajudicial killing is better than no justice. I'm not glorifying this sort of encounter, no. But I'm saying it's human. If you start curbing people like that, if you start indulging in rapes and killing and burning of the people would have to rise. And I'm amazed why the women haven't risen as yet. There should be a sort of a social revolution against the politicians who are protecting, against the human rights who are protecting beasts and animals. Given the ways that the politics and the money has over the police, I know giving them the right to kill can be misused. As I said earlier, they can become agents of the criminals. But once they do something, we have got to first conduct an inquiry rather than start branding them as killers. And the human rights, as I said earlier, the less is said about them, the better. They are only the parasites of society. They are carrions and the vultures who feed on the misery of the people while siding with the real criminals. But now let's come to that. Do you know the judicial system in India? I know it. I have seen it firsthand. It takes years and years. The processes are magistrate, appeals to the magistrate, session judge, high court, supreme court, president for the mercy appeal. And a case which normally should take 3 months goes on for up to 30 years. And people say the grandfather sues and the grandson ultimately is holding the plate. Then, when the case is proceeding, they start threatening the victim. What happened in our case? Girl was raped, and then her father was threatened. Girl was ultimately killed. Father has been punished in the sense he was involved in an accident. People have died. So the system encourages wrong actions. In this way, it's better for a quick, decisive, justified retribution. Now, what happens to the witnesses? They'll be threatened, they'll be bribed, and they will not appear. And then, safety of the witnesses and of the girl, we have seen it. The recent two cases are clear evidence that millions would be spent on the safety of incompetent, dishonest, murderous politicians. But the real victims would never give in the safety. So whom do I blame? India's biggest democracy, where the girls are not safe, where an infant of a few months can be raped and killed, and nobody, except saying it so bad, bat an eyelid. There's a total lack of political will and a total absence of the proper judicial system. I hope for once the politics does not play a field. The political parties come together, the judicial system, the parliament come together and come forward to give women and the girls of India the assurance of safety and quick justice that's required against the heinous crimes committed by them. But that's not happening. Whom do I blame for this? The political leaders who say and condone rape by saying, well, boys are boys, they can do something wrong, as one of the former defense ministers of India said. Another says that this is the result of internet. The third leader says that is a result of the girls, they wear those revealing clothes. And these idiots, why do they criticize the hijab then? Because hijab is also meant to hide the beauty of a girl. And then why don't they blame the boys or the men who are tempted by the beauty? Beauty is there to be seen, not to be trampled on. You don't crush a flower. You enjoy the beauty of a flower. And saying that they are wearing revealing clothes is the height of idiocy. Coming back to this so-called extrajudicial killing, this was justified retribution because of the failure of the judicial system. And when the Chief Justice of India has the temerity and stupidity to say that this should not have happened, he should first have castigated himself and his brother judges for being absolutely incompetent in not awarding swift punishment. Cases have been going on for years together, as I said. Today, 60% of the population in the Indian jails is also under trials. And 80% of the accused are out on bail. And by the time the decision comes, the judges say, well, the case has gone for a long time, so that's a sufficient punishment by itself, if the punishment is there. Otherwise, doctored medical certificates help them, because there's a dishonesty at every level, at the politicians level, at the parliament level, at the judicial level, and at the professional doctors level. The same doctor will give a certificate that she has been raped, and next day he'll say, no, this was a willing, consensual sex. Time has come to recognize that the justified human need and demand for retribution would be met. If you don't meet it properly, then if the police doesn't kill them, then maybe the people will start lynching them. Choice is yours. Choose swift, honest justice, or choose anarchy and absolute breakdown of all values. Think about it. Thank you.